Hey, welcome to episode 6 of the BenAF podcast. I'm your host, BenAF, and today we're going to discuss the dreaded R word. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm going to say it. Go ahead and skip in the video if you don't want to hear me say it. Responsibility. Yeah, I know. This is going to be a weird episode just because this is the first one I've done without any form of a script. And so, it's literally just going to be me ranting. If you're not into that, maybe click off this video because, I don't know. I'm just kind of voicing some thoughts here just because, I don't know. I don't know why tonight of all nights it hit me. It's now 12:40 a.m. What is it? Like, July 7th? And tonight of all nights, the dread of responsibility has hit me. And I'm not really sure why. And I should probably start off by saying that I don't think responsibility is necessarily a bad thing. I actually think it's a really good thing. I think it's pretty much just all about striking a balance. Like, I don't know. I guess over the last couple months, I've been taking on responsibilities head on, and it's been really good for me. But I'm not gonna lie and say that it hasn't stressed me out at all. It's been really stressful. I've I don't know. Like I was about to say like my sleep's been weird, but I'm not gonna say that because like I haven't getting 8 hours of sleep. It's just I don't know. All of a sudden things seem to have changed, and it's really odd. Like recently I've been waking up at 7 a.m. every morning. I don't get it. I don't understand why. I'm 20 years old. What the hell am I supposed to be doing at 7 a.m. in the morning? Nothing. There's nothing to do at 7 a.m. in the morning if you're 20. Nothing's open yet. There's no fun to be had unless you're on your phone. And I've got my phone set to have downtime until 8 a.m. So literally, I'm just stuck doing nothing for an hour. And it kind of sucks. And I wouldn't be complaining about this if literally I could control when I wake up. But literally, every day for the past 2 weeks, I've woken up at 7 a.m. in the morning. Doesn't matter when I go to sleep. Yeah, it doesn't matter how early or how late I go to sleep. I literally just keep waking up at 7 a.m. in the morning. It is very, very disconcerting to me. I should probably go talk to a doctor, but don't know if those really exist anymore. It's a very strange time to live. I don't know. I hope someone's like looking at this like 30 years from July 7th, 2020, and is just like, what the hell is he talking about? Like, I really hope we we get to go back to having just not the stress of thinking about a lot of things. Because, man, that's really what 2020 has been. It's just like the year of everyone has to take responsibility for everything. And as much as it sucks, I think it's going to lead to a better future. Just, man, I don't think anyone was prepared for it. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the recent kind of Me Too accusations in the YouTube community and the Twitch community. It's insane. Just seems like every person on the planet right now has to take responsibility for something they've done in the past. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think no one was expecting it to happen this year, so it's really freaky and just like I don't know. Like I'd say I agree with the majority of the cancellations. I think some of them are a little unwarranted, but I don't know. There's just I like accountability. I really do, and I like that people do have to own up to the mistakes that they made in the past. And it kind of seems like the people who have made apologies usually leave out a lot of stuff, and then they get called out for that stuff, and that's when they actually get canceled. Like I don't agree with anyone being canceled just for making one mistake, but if you've got like a repeated pattern of mistakes, maybe you deserve to be canceled. I don't know, controversial statement, right? Because I think everyone deserves the opportunity to be forgiven. I just don't know how many times you can forgive a person before it's just like maybe they're just a lost cause. Like you can lead a horse to water, right? It's just I don't know. I guess for the first time in my life, like I'm actually dealing with my past. I'm figuring stuff out, and I'm trying to make amends for it. And I was about to say it sucks, and it definitely does suck to some extent, but it's probably been the best year of my life so far. It's been very just I don't know if there's been a day that's gone by this year that I don't really remember. Of course there's like plenty of them, but like at least for like the last like 2 or 3 months, I've pretty much remembered every single day. That's what I mean by it's a balance thing. It's I don't know, just trying not to feel the pressures of responsibility. Like I didn't upload a podcast last week. That sucks. Like mainly it was just because like I don't know, like all of a sudden like this podcasting thing felt like a responsibility as opposed to just a fun little side gig. Like I'm putting so much hope into it where I'm just like, yeah, man, maybe one day this will be a job. Isn't that cool? And like now I'm just like, no. Why would I ever want my hobby to be a job? And really the answer is some form of balance where it's a job and a hobby. Like, like I return to it. It's really fun to do and I make money off of it. That'd be pretty cool. But who knows? It's just a pipe dream at this point. Maybe people look back at this and be like, yeah, man, you knew exactly what it was. It was a pipe dream. Or maybe people were like, oh, shit. Well, you actually did it. Look at that. Oh, that didn't age well. That's kind of a thing I want to talk about today. Things aging well or not. I mean, crap. There's been a ton of decisions that I've made that did not age well at all. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was one of the people that was like, who needs a mask? And I was wrong. I was horribly wrong. I was horrifically and terribly wrong. Not because, all right, so, let me take another controversial take. I don't think it's a matter of individuality or not, or individualism or not, because as I've explained to several people at this point, if they were making us wear masks in our home, I'd be protesting too. I completely understand it. But when you're out in a public space, those masks are kind of less for you and more to protect everyone around you. It's kind of sort of like a herd immunity thing where if everyone's got a mask, then the people who legitimately can't wear a mask and are way more susceptible to the Rona, well then hey, they'll be all right. It'll be better off for them. And I guess it was once I took myself out of it and I was just like, wait, like, who cares? It's a mask. Like, I mean, I don't know. It kind of sucks for me because I do work in the public sector, so I have to wear the mask the entire time. But I feel like it's a small price to pay to make sure that civilization keeps going, right? Like, if I don't want to wear a mask, I don't have to go out in public, I go just quit the job. But I don't want to, so I wear the mask anyways. And I don't know. It's a responsibility, but it's also a responsibility that I want to have because I live in a society. I do live in a society. And I think that it matters when it comes down to individuals versus the rest of society. I guess it depends on where it takes place. Because if it's in the public, I think the people as a whole need to come before the individual. But in your own home, yeah, of course you should come before anyone who just wanders into your house. But that's the difference. It's like, I don't know. I don't think anything I'm saying is like controversial. Like it's just be good people. Like it's such a easy thing to do. Like just be cool. Like there had to be someone making the argument that like stop signs were a bad thing when they first rolled them out, right? Like it actually says in the Constitution it's my right to just blaze on through an intersection. My right. And it's like, no, this has nothing to do with rights. If you want to drive in your own backyard and ignore intersections, nobody cares. But since you do live in a society where other people are also on the road, the safest thing to do is to have stop signs. So you stop, look both ways, boom, you can keep going wherever you're going. It's a small price to pay to make sure that, hey, when you're going through an intersection, you don't get hit because, hey, the other person's paying attention to the stop sign. It works, you know? And if you want an example of it not working, I mean, I would say look at India. Um, just India's whole driving system. I don't know. I can't speak for the whole of India because I've only seen like one video, but man, it is just no one's looking at the lights, no one's looking at the signs. People are just walking in front of cars moving. It is insane. It's pandemonium. Cats and dogs living together. Whatever. I'm ripping off a Godzilla quote. I'm sorry. It's a rambling podcast. I'm just gonna keep talking. But it's just yeah, like that's the price you pay for living with other people, is that you have to think of them sometimes. It's what it is. And if you don't like it, then leave, right? Like, isn't that kind of the point? Is like, if you're not into it, then leave. I don't know. I don't really like that argument whenever people present it to me, but I think in this instance it's fair, where it's just like, yeah, if you don't like the responsibility of living in a community, then don't live in the community. Like, that's the price that you gave up. I don't want to keep harping on this point. I feel like I've made my point clear. And if you disagree with me, leave it down in the comments. We can have a nice little discussion about it, because you know what? I don't want to silence anyone's opinions. I like other people's opinions. That's why I like people. That's why I like having the responsibility of having to deal with other people, is that I can't see every perspective through my own eyes, because the truth is I'm not, other people, and I don't know what they're thinking all the time. And it sucks because I wish I did. Sorry about that. I had to pause because I heard other people talking, and I was like, that wouldn't be good to have in the background. That wouldn't be nice for you guys to hear. And I have some form of responsibility to you guys to make sure that this actually sounds not like ass. So I think another good example of this is I was hanging out with a friend over the weekend, and me and the friend were listening to music. We're at the friend's place, and they live in an apartment, and like they wanted to crank the music up really loud, and I was like, why? They're just like, well, because I pay for this place, so like it's my right to just play my music as loud as I want to. I'm just like, no, it is not your right to just play the music as loud as you want to. Like, you've got neighbors that also like hear things that are coming through the walls. That's not how this works. You can't have it both ways. You can't want to live with people and then not think of them when you're doing private stuff like listening to music. Because, I like music. I like listening to music. I just don't like having to hear other people listen to music. Like, if you're on a bus and somebody's listening to music on their earbuds, who cares? But if they're blasting their music on their earbuds and everyone on the bus can hear it, I think the people on the bus have the right to be like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? Like, there comes a point where it's just like you're kind of taking advantage of this. Like, nobody's mad that you're listening to music. We're just mad that the rest of us have to hear you listen to music. So it's such a big trade-off thing, and oh my gosh, this is such a weird episode. I don't know. Leave down in the comments if you like this or not. Who knows? You probably don't. I'll just be like a 2-view episode. What do I care? It doesn't matter. I like doing these. I made a vow to myself that I would never do a podcast if I didn't have anything to say. And I'm going to stick true to that, because I don't want to just come on here for some ulterior motive like, I want money, or I want sponsorship, or I want views. Like, no, I just want an outlet to talk about stuff. That's all I want. That's literally all I want in this moment. 2 days from now, you might hear narcissist me be like, yeah, man, like, I'm going to get like 1 million views. I'm going to make like $1 million every video. I'm going to be like rich. I'm going to buy like 20 pairs of Roshis, and like they're going to be like all different colors. Yo, can we talk about Roshis? I don't understand why people just decided to like not dig Roshis anymore. I don't get it. Roshis are the perfect shoe to me. They're comfortable, yet they're not running shoes. We can definitely run in them if you. I mean, I wouldn't say like go around jogging every day in them. You know, if you have to like run from a gunman, not bad shoes. They're pretty good shoes. I like them. They're comfortable. They're durable. I've had the same light blue pair of Roshi since I was in ninth grade. Still working 6 years later. Oh my gosh, it's been 6 years. Jesus, I'm old. Man, can we talk about how old I am? You know, I don't know about you guys like who are older than 20, and like I can imagine how old you people feel. But man, I feel old. Well, I am kidding, but I'm not kidding. Like I'm kidding about you guys having to feel old because I understand like you guys are older, and that's you know it's a trade off for having wisdom. All right. But I'm 20 and I feel old. You know, I feel young, but I feel old. I feel like I'm caught in the in between because I'm, you know, in between. So I've heard someone say a really good quote, and it's basically the death of innocence is when you realize you have to pick a path and go with it, and you can't change paths. It's not that you can't change paths; it's that if you change your path, it's a waste of time. Like you basically just invalidated how many ever years you worked somewhere to choose a different path. And it sucks. Like, I hate it. I freaking hate it. Like, I'm the kind of dude who likes to explore a bunch of different things and not have to commit to any of them because he likes all of them. Like, ugh. Like, it's not that I have no idea what I want to do with the rest of my life. It's that I've got too many ideas on what to do with the rest of my life. And it's tough. And, you know, like, I hope someone out there kind of relates to this because, you know, like, I want to let you guys know that, like, yeah, like, I'm going through it too. And I think a lot of people are going through it. I think anyone who tells you that they're not going through it, maybe they're not, you know, I can't speak for them, but I think even people who are in their, like, 40s and 50s and like who have chosen the path and have gone down it for 20 years are still like I don't know if I made the right decision. Like I'm sorry that I use the L word so much. I'm going to try to remove it from my vocabulary because it's not a good habit to have. But I think so much of life is just figuring out I was about to say so much of it is spent figuring out what to do, but literally like the first like 25 years is spent on like who am I? What am I doing here? I mean seriously, like how hard is it to pick a path in life if you can't even decide what you want to wear in the morning? Like there are times where I'll go into work and I'm like, do I want to wear a belt? Do I not want to wear a belt? Do I want to wear a watch? Do I not want to wear a watch? Do I feel like doing my hair before? Or am I just going to put on a hat? You know, just try to roll with that. That's where it's at. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. That was a stupid impromptu little rap there. Leave in the comments if you want more rapping. Um, I just, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's too much because I love it. Like, the opposite of this, having no responsibilities, is terrible. Like I lived that life for so long and I got so tired of it. Like where if you don't say anything to anyone, no one talks to you. That sucks. Like I'm sorry, I use the L word again. I should have a little buzzer that goes like every time I say the word like. But as much as I enjoyed being able to go like a week without having someone send me a message because I was a loser, you know what? Yeah, it sucked. It sucked that there was like long stretches of my life where no one actually thought like, hey, maybe I should send Ben a message. And Larry was a little girl. Um and as much as I can try to blame other people for that, so much of that was on me. It was on me that I didn't reach out to other people. So why would anyone feel the responsibility to reach out to me? You know, I can't change how other people see me. Right? Okay, that was a wrong statement. That was not what I meant. I can change how other people see me, but it all starts with self-reflection. It does. Like I have to figure out what I want to be, what I want people to expect of me before I can expect them to see me that way, you know? And again, it's weird. Like here's an embarrassing story. There was I was a part of several like text threads. I think it was between like my mom and my sister and me. I would never respond to them, but I would keep them unopened so that it looked like I did have notifications for my text messages. So, you know, when I opened up my phone, my friends were like, "Oh Jesus, man, he never has anyone trying to text him." Like I felt, I felt, I felt so ashamed of letting anyone know that I was alone. I would just like, and then I remember literally making a joke to my friend and pointing it out and being like, Psh, man, you know, when you ignore the ladies for like an hour and there's like 57 notifications on my messages. And he didn't call me out, but I'm pretty sure, I think in the back of his head, he was like, man, that guy's kind of a loser. Maybe I should stop hanging out with him. Maybe I'll title this episode The Insane Ramblings of a Madman. Because, man, like, these really are ramblings. I'm still going to upload it anyways. What the hell do I care? Jeez. You're not going anywhere. Are you? Please don't go anywhere. I need you. So I did mention, like, why I did this podcast, and it was to express myself, but I remember, like requirement number 2 was to make sure that I was broadcasting to someone and not no one. Like I like as much as I say I don't care about views, I'm just like, yeah, but it would suck to be broadcasting to a an audience of no one, cuz that would be, well, it'd be all right, I guess. You know, if you're cool with that, that's cool. I'm just not cool with that because it would bother me, you know? What's the point of having a voice if there's no one listening to it? It's like the whole if a tree falls and there's no one to hear it, doesn't make a sound. Well, if there's a podcast and someone's recording it, but literally no one listens to it, was it really recorded? And the answer is yes. Like, it's not dependent on someone hearing it. But it is a good kind of philosophical question where it's just like, what does it mean if no one's there to listen to you? I can't remember what video I was watching, but someone was talking about how so much of your image of yourself is dependent on how other people see you. So basically, like if you were stuck on an island by yourself for 5 years, you're gonna act completely differently than if you were stuck on an island for 5 years with other people. It's because basically so much of your ego, I believe, don't quote me on this, but so much of your ego and your self-identity is dependent on trying to see how other people view you. So if you're not having if you're not forced to have to deal with that, then there's really no need to have an ego or any form of self-identity. There just isn't. And you know what? Transition. I'm gonna look up a bunch of philosophical questions and see if I can answer them. I'll be right back. All right, here's me. I'm back. I've got some questions pulled up. I have not prepared them and chose which ones are interesting. Which, side note, the first episode I ever put out was not the first episode I ever recorded. The first episode I ever recorded was a collab with BenAF. Actually, was that even the first recording? I don't even know if that was the first recording. But one of the first recordings was me by myself, going through like a list of questions and just kind of answering them. Like I picked the best ones I thought would be the best representations of me. If you guys want that one to drop, just type F in the comments. I don't care. Uh, if anyone made it this long and actually cares enough, press F in the chat. Do it. It's cool. But I'm on allocation.com. I just looked up philosophical questions and it was the first one that popped up, and so I'm just gonna look at the ones that are interesting and talk to myself about it. Is it more important to be respected or liked? Now, see, that's a tricky dicky one because it's like the whole Machiavelli thing. Uh, Basically, there was a guy named Machiavelli. I can't remember that was actually his name. Basically, there was a guy who pretty much wrote the playbook to being a politician, and one of the things that he said was, "It is better to be feared than loved." But basically, if you have the choice, be both. But pretty much what that meant was, if they fear you, they'll never challenge you. Because love is a very fickle thing. It's very dependent on both sides being cool with it. So, yeah, like love is something that's like very like quick to change, but fear, if you're scared someone's gonna kill you, that really doesn't go away ever. So I think this is a different form of that question. Is it basically better to be respected or liked? And it just depends on the situation. Like, if I'm someone's boss, I'd rather be respected than liked. But in my own personal life, I'd rather be liked than respected. But I think both of them go hand in hand. If you can't play both lines, then what are you doing? Is having a big ego a negative trait or a positive trait? Again, kind of just depends on the situation, because I think you can have both and have like a really good life. I think doing this podcast, I have to have a big ego because I have to be like, I want people to hear me, blah 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 blah. Like, it's just kind of necessary to it. But me outside of this podcast, I have less of an ego because I have to collaborate with people outside of this podcast. So I think in situations where it's pretty much just dependent on you, it's not a problem to have a big ego, or where you have to be kind of respected. It's not a bad thing to have a big ego, but it's a problem if you're trying to collaborate with people. I mean, man, I feel like these people hate me because I'm just going down the middle with everything. Is it easier to love or be loved? I think it's easier to be loved. I think I have a problem with that. Like, for me, it's like way more difficult to like actually love other people because, man, like the I mean, basically it's like, would you rather be friend zoned or be the friend zoner? And it's like, yeah, as much as it sucks to be the friend zoner, it's way better than being friend zoned. Does evil come from within, and if so, why? Okay, another controversial take here. I don't know if there's really evil people per se. I just think that I think everyone's just kind of neutral. It's basically just like whether you get checked or not. So pretty much, I think most people are born with an internal checker that keeps them from doing bad things. And a lot of that is just through empathy, where it's like, I won't stab a person because it hurts if I get stabbed, and I don't want to inflict that on another person. And basically, if you aren't born with that, then your parents and your upbringing are supposed to instill that in you. Like, they're supposed to be your moral compass because you weren't born with one. And then failing that, it should be society's job to instill you with a moral compass. And I think when you look at like all these serial killers, for instance, like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer and all these other guys and gals, shoot, can't remember her name, but there have been female serial killers. I feel like the number one thing that's in common with all of them is that they didn't have people to check them. Like, they weren't born with a moral compass. They didn't feel like it was a bad thing to murder people. They usually have really crappy upbringings where their parents didn't instill that in them. Like, hey, like, not only is murder bad because it's bad because it doesn't work for everyone. Like, murder is not a good thing because it doesn't actually really solve the problems that it needs to solve. It's a whole lot like suicide. Jesus, man, I am just coming off with controversial takes. Like the whole like it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Like, yeah, if you have a problem with someone, talk it out. There's no reason to murder a person. Like, I don't think it's ever justified to murder another person unless in the instance of they're trying to murder you. And some, like, if someone breaks in your house and they have a gun, feel free to murder them. I don't really care. But yeah, is love simple physical desire or something more? Uh, well, I think there's different types of love. And like of course they're talking about like the relationship sense, that's what I'm going to go in. And I think generally the people that form these marriages that last like 60 years, I think it started out as a physical desire. But the question is there something deeper than that? Like that's why I think so many couples talk about how they're best friends because yeah, like look, like even if you're married to the hottest chick in the world, like eventually like it's just going to be like, yeah, like I'm married to the hottest chick in the world, like whatever. I mean, like we heard that Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce and it's like, bro, you cheated on Beyonce? Like what? But you know, like I think it's hard to put ourselves in the position of a dude like Jay-Z, but imagine if like literally every woman you meet, not every woman, but tons of beautiful women throw themselves at you. And yeah, like do you wake up next to one of the most beautiful women on the planet, one of the most fiercely independent women on the planet? Yeah. Yeah, you do. But eventually like you know like after like year 5 of waking up to the most beautiful person on the planet, I think a lot of people start to take it for granted. And I think Jay-Z took it for granted. You know? Like I'm not trying to blame Beyonce or anything. Like that's it's really nothing on her. I don't think. I mean, I'm not their marriage counselor. I can't tell you what the problem was there. But I can tell you that a big problem is that Jay-Z took it for granted. Like yeah. And so much of the human condition is starting to take stuff for granted because it's the reason why people who become millionaires and have a mansion become dissatisfied with it. And it's because inherently for people, yeah, like you just become dissatisfied with what you have. Well, not even necessarily dissatisfied, you just kind of become content with it, where it's just like, yeah, like it's a thing that I have. And then something different, whether or not it's better or worse for you, or if it's just neutral, people jump at the chance to for something different. So, you know, I mean, like Beyonce, like, I mean, come on, man. Like she's as close to a 10 out of 10 as there is, but even Jay-Z cheated on her. I mean, that's crazy. That's insane. Are people in the current generation less or more sensitive than people from past generations? Uh, you know, you boomers might not want to listen to this one. Nah, I think you become less sensitive with age. I think that's just what it is. I think you're less open to ideas as you age, and there's a good reason for that. If you've avoided getting dead for 80 years, you might know a little more than a person who's only you know, not been not been killed in 20 years. I mean, I think there's just a place for both. I think that's like why if I ever ran a business, like I would hire young people because I'm just like, yeah, like they're way more sensitive to this stuff than I am, and I need to listen to them. So like, yeah, I think people of past generations now are less sensitive, but I think they were super sensitive when they were our age. Like the people that we call boomers now literally were the flower children of the 60s. Like the most like conscious and ethical generation ever turned into like pretty conservative. It's like, yeah, that's what happens with every generation. Like there's the saying if you're 20 and you're not a liberal, you don't have a heart, and if you're 30 and not a conservative, you don't have a brain. And well, like I think that's kind of simplistic. Like I kind of agree with it where it's yeah, at some point you kind of do shift over to well, you know, it's not really about what I can get. It's more about what I have and making sure that it stays around. It's like, yeah, I understand that. I completely get it. Can achieving nothing make a person happy? Yeah. Um, my definition of happy is just like temporary, like fulfillment. And yeah, like there's plenty of people who don't really care about achieving anything and are completely fine with it. I mean, it's just kind of a neutral thing. And yeah, like if you're satisfied with achieving nothing, cool for you. I'm not, but I don't want to proselytize on the person who's achieving nothing. I don't want them proselytizing it on me. So cool. Is there a perfect life? No. I mean, what does that even mean? Like like a life without worry and pain and stuff like that? Because like I just think it's a stupid question because so like say like your definition of a perfect life is a life without pain and misery and stuff like that. Well, so much of what makes life enjoyable is when you conquer those things, when you beat them, when you attain something that's better than that. That's kind of where fulfillment comes from. Oh, that's what I was trying to say. The difference between happiness and something that's long term like fulfillment is like yeah, like happiness is like I ate some chips and then you're happy for like 10 seconds when you get immediately dissatisfied and sometimes you even get sad with yourself where you're just like wow, I fell for the chip bag again. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Or like I do with this podcast where I'm just like man, why do I keep doing this to myself? I'm just, I'm just kidding. I love this job. It's not a job. It's a hobby. It's a very very fun hobby. But yeah. What the? Oh yeah, I was talking about a perfect life. It's 1:18 a.m. in the morning. I'm kind of tired, but not really tired. It's very odd. And I'll still wake up at 7. And I'll be angry when I wake up. It'll suck. Can life be meaningful without friends? Sure. I guess if you were just surrounded by family. Um, but yeah, because we love to preach about balance and stuff like that. But some people don't need friends. Like honestly, like some people are like literally completely content with being by themselves. And so cool. As long as they don't push that on me, I'm not gonna push myself on them. How do you know if you love someone enough to marry them? I had a teacher my ninth grade year. He was a math teacher. He was a very cool guy, but I remember he was telling us basically he was like, "Don't tell anyone you love them unless they meet this criteria." And I'm gonna use this criteria. He's basically just like, "Don't tell anyone you love them if you aren't willing to wipe their ass for them if they became a vegetable." We were like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, like say if they got in a car accident and they became paralyzed, would you be able to wipe their asses for them for the rest of their lives?" And it's just like, ah, crap, dude. Like, yeah, like I guess like that really is what that is. I mean, so much of love is responsibility. So yeah, I mean I don't know. That's the whole reason why it's like in sickness and in health, like for better or for worse, that's the point. Is like it doesn't really matter what happens to them or how much they change. You're supposed to change with them and like help them out. You're supposed to be able to talk about stuff and yeah, like if you aren't willing to wipe someone's ass for the rest of their life, don't tell them you love them. I don't know. There's something gross about it, and there's something so beautiful about it too. Or it's just like, yeah, like it is kind of that simple. Like, don't don't tell someone you're willing to give them the rest of your life if you're not willing to do that because that ain't cool. If you're not willing to do that, you're lying to them. So yeah, it's simplistic, it's disgusting, but it's beautiful in its simplicity and its disgustingness because it's true. Is it being obsessive? Is being obsessive about someone or something a good thing? No. Um, there should be a healthy balance there. Like, of course, like you should care about something, but if you're thinking about it 24/7, that's not a good thing. That's not healthy. Uh, I mean, again, unless like you're that one person who's just like, I can focus on one thing and live a happy life. And it's like, okay, cool. Are highly intelligent people less happy than individuals with an average intelligence? Sure. I would assume as a person with lower intelligence, I'm not a very smart guy. I'm a dum dum. I'm a poopy mc dum dum pants. But yeah, like I think so much of being intelligent is being able to put connections together, and they're constantly doing that. Like smart people are constantly putting stuff together and like inferencing and stuff, and like I don't know, like they kind of reading the stuff that's not there, and they're just like, "Well, am I not happy?" And then they keep thinking about stuff way too much. I don't know. You can be a dumb person overthink stuff. I just think that smart people tend to overthink stuff more. Is there an absolute way to attain a happy state of mind? No. Does living your life for others make your life have meaning? Sure, it can. It doesn't necessarily. Do knowledge and understanding make you content and happy as a person? They make me happy. I don't know about everyone. Does fate exist? Ooh, that's a meaty one right there. I do like that one because I got into a debate about this in college with a buddy of mine. Or there's a picture here. Another question that kind of goes along with it: does free will exist, or is every action predetermined? I think it's both. Like I think everyone has the free will to do whatever the hell that they want. But like so much of what you want to do is dependent on the chemicals that your brain is feeding you and the decisions that you've made in the past that it might as well be predetermined. So I'm taking the easy way out. It's both, but it's more on the side of it being predetermined. So yeah, are we a minuscule part of intelligent life in the universe? I don't know. I don't see any evidence of that. I just see evidence that we're probably the only smart things in the universe. So, yay humans. Does an ideal government exist? Yes. My ideal government would basically be not a nanny state, but also not a government that doesn't exist. I think the government should perform duties that individuals cannot. So, kind of stuff like military and managing the overall economy and stuff like that, and making sure that racist dickheads can't discriminate against people, or sexist dickheads, or transphobic dickheads. Just anyone who's a dickhead. So yeah, I just think some government that kind of makes sure that people, much like a parent, where they're teaching their kid to walk, like yeah, like you kind of gotta let your kid fall and stuff like that, but you don't let your kid die. I think that's kind of the problem with our government right now is that like like we have like this weird like we just let people die, like take healthcare for instance, where it's just like, well, I couldn't afford insurance, so I can't go to the doctor this month, and they die, and people are just like, it's what you get for not having insurance, and it's just like, yeah, no, maybe don't have it where you have to pay for something that's gonna save your life. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Like we don't do that with firefighters. There's a reason why we don't do that with firefighters, because if a firefighter came to your house, he was like, I demand $2,000, that would be a terrible thing. Yeah, I'm not gonna save your house or your children that are burning at the second floor of your house unless you pay me $2,000. And you have to like compare like firefighters from like your city and a different city. It'd be terrible. It wouldn't work. That's why we shouldn't do that. Are there limitations on free speech? What does that even mean? Do you mean in my country? Yeah. Do you mean should there be? Yeah. Because I don't think it's like the car scenario that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, like should you be able to say whatever you want in the privacy of your own home? I could care less about that. But if you're out in public, no, you should not be able to say stuff like there was a fire if there was no fire. You should not be able to say stuff like BenAF is a crackhead out in public because I am not a crackhead. So yeah, I think there should be limitations, but are there limitations? Yeah, I mean that's not that's not a philosophical question. Like a philosophical question should not be is the sky blue? Are people humans? It's like yeah, like there's no debating that. What are you talking about? Can artificial intelligence, be creative. How the hell should I know? What the fuck does that even mean? I'm sorry, I got a little, a little angry there, but I don't. What is that question even supposed to mean? Can artific? I don't know. How would I know that? I'm not like. uh, oh man, so many of these questions are just kind of dumb. Like, is death a new beginning? Who knows? What? Is human potential capable of anything? I don't know. Will a world without reliance on modern technology make any progress? Probably. What do you mean by progress? Like, if you mean by like, yeah, like people live longer, then I guess not. But I don't know. I think people should just be able to choose whatever the fuck they want to. Do parallel universes exist? Probably, but I don't know. Apparently, there's like evidence for it, but I've never seen an alternative universe, so I'm just gonna put that in the I'm agnostic. I don't know. Our beliefs and superstitions the same? Yeah, pretty much. Like both, like unless there's like evidence for it, like they're both unfalsifiable things. Like basically, they're they're thoughts that people have that don't have any proof for them. Like there's no like certainty. So it's like, you know, um, should we cripple all people over the age of 55? I say no. There's a person who could say yes, and it doesn't. There's no evidence that exists that says no, you cannot do that. So it doesn't really matter. How does one find purpose in life? Find responsibility. If aliens attack, what will we do? Uh, if aliens attacked, I think we just give up and just kind of become slaves. Do guns protect or kill people? They do neither. They don't really do anything unless a person uses them. So yeah, like I think guns can kill people, but I think you can also shoot them at a target, and they don't kill anyone. So like the problem isn't necessarily with the guns. The problem's with the people who use guns, which is why I don't think everyone should be allowed to have a gun. Will racism cease to exist? No. That's because every bad idea continues to exist. Like, we literally still have people that think the Earth is in the center of the universe. So, no. Every bad idea will come back eventually. It always does. Why is beauty associated with morality? I don't know that it is. Why do we respect the dead more than the living? Because they don't exist anymore and they can't talk. I should probably explain that more. Basically, when people are dead and they can't talk anymore, you can put whatever stupid BS moralization that you want to. It's the same reason why everyone's like clamoring towards Martin Luther King right now. They're like, he would have been a conservative, if he was still alive, or he would have been a staunch liberal. And it's just like as much as I respect Martin Luther King and I liked his opinions, he's dead. So why the fuck are we still debating what he would have believed now? He doesn't believe anything. He's dead. What's more important, doing the right thing or doing things right? Doing the right thing. Do we love ourselves more in the virtual world and less in the real world? Sure. Is humanity doomed to head in a destructive direction? Um, there's a quote by Winston Churchill that goes, and this is a quote about Americans. It's basically Americans always do the right thing just after they try everything else. And I think humanity is the same way. I think we literally always try every other option than the right one. Like we literally see like 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 in the US where it's just like maybe we should have free healthcare. Like we literally have tried everything else. We've looked at other countries do free healthcare and have tremendous success, and then we're just like, nah, we're gonna keep half-assing it. It's like, God, Lee, like just quit wasting time. Should full access to the internet be a fundamental right? Yes, I think that it should be because I think the internet's what's gonna save humanity in the end. Because I think the reason why this generation so more than any other just is like why is war a thing is because I think the generation in the 60s that was so anti-war was anti-war, but they didn't really, they just kind of assumed that everyone in other countries were the same. And now that we have the internet, we know people in different countries are fundamentally the same. Every person can basically be boiled down to they just want what's best for them and the people that are close to them. That is every person on this planet. And so it doesn't make any sense anymore that the US can be like, Russia hates you, because it's like you can just go ahead and send a tweet to Vladimir, you know, Khrushchev, and be like, hey, do you hate us? And he'd be like, no, I'm actually watching, Disney Plus right now. And it's just like, oh, so no, the governments hate each other. It just like if they tried to call a draft right now, I don't think anyone would join it. Like I think there'd be a decent amount of people who would join it. I don't know if I would, 'cause, I love my country. I really do. I love this country. I love this country. I'm never gonna leave this country because I love it, and I'm gonna fight to make sure that things are preserved here. But if there's a war that I disagree with, I'm not gonna fight in it. But if I'm actually like defending this country, then yeah, I would. Can memories be erased? No, they have a way of manifesting themselves. Is peace the only way to stop war? Yeah. All right. I've hit the point of no return. I'm so tired right now. But I'm gonna leave it at this. Tell me if you guys like this. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna do these very often, but it was a fun exercise. It was fun to see if I could just I've only got to like 51 minutes. That's crazy. Well, whatever. It's been 52 minutes. Thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, I love you. You're awesome people. See you guys next time.